What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Wet Boots Podcast. My name is Leo. This is a show where I talk to people who are or have been in the military, and I get a chance to hear their military story. My guest today is a legendary paratrooper whose story has become the stuff of airborne folklore. He famously jumped out of a perfectly good aircraft with a water bottle containing his pet fish, Willie, and he's here to tell his story, the aftermath of that iconic jump, and his perspective on life after getting out. Please welcome my guest today, Matt Tattersall, everybody.
Hello, everybody. How are you today?
What's up, Matt, dude? Oh my God, it's such a pleasure to have you here because you are literally an airborne legend. For those who don't know you, I will put up a picture here. You literally jumped out. You had one of your last jumps in division, right? You were on your way to getting out, and you jumped with your pet fish, Willie, which we're gonna get into. But you're such an absolute legend for that. And you're out of the army. You've been out of the army for a while, and I just want to know. Give us the backstory, dude. I want to hear all of it. Give us the backstory.
Okay. Yeah, so this happened back in April of 2015. So we're coming up on, it'll be 10 years.
Almost 10 years on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Let's go back even further, man. Let's go back even further. Tell us where you're from.
Okay.
Tell us where you're from and how you kind of got into the army.
Cool. Okay. So I was born and raised in Southington, Connecticut. Had always wanted to serve in the military. My father was in, grandfather was in. I haven't really looked at the family tree past that, but it was just always pride in military growing up, something that I had always wanted to do. Graduated high school and was originally going to go right. I wanted to go in right after high school. There was some objection, so I decided to cave. I ended up going to school for a little bit, but it was once they announced that Osama bin Laden was killed, that was the night where I was like, dude, if you're ever gonna be able to deploy, now is the time to enlist. Because other than that, I would have gone, was planning on going as an officer after college. So I enlisted, and 8 months later, shipped off to basic training. Basic training would have been January of 2013. Went through that, and then immediately on to airborne school. I want to say I got to my unit around June of that year, and they were already, my unit was already deployed to Afghanistan at the time. So at first I was, pretty bummed out, thinking I was going to miss it. But, like once again, just a stroke of luck where one day they were like, hey, who wants to deploy? And sure enough, I was able to get on there as a late deployer and, got over there. Keep in mind, I was still brand new to the Army. So it was like, didn't get the deployment that I would, that you'll want, beggars can't be choosers, of course.
What were you thinking going into this first deployment? What were you thinking that you were going to do?
Well, I mean, as an infantryman, I was expecting to be more active. I would say, I was only able to go out on 1 or 2 missions after it was all said and done. And so most of my time there was just kind of like training or doing details, while, my platoon who had been there was out doing everything. So for me, it was, I was happy to be there. I was excited to be there. It just wasn't what I was expecting. When they told me I was going to be deploying, I figured like, oh, okay, this is what it's going to be. And like I said, so once I was over there, it was just kind of, quiet for the most part for me. But was eventually able to go out and, leave the wire and had a little bit of fun. And
okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah, I like that. We always like to go outside the wire. Not we as like because I was not infantry, I was a mechanic, but it's always a fun time when you go outside the wire. You think something's gonna happen. You're on high alert the whole time, and you're like, maybe something's gonna happen today, and you kind of don't want it to happen, but you kind of do. And then when it doesn't happen, you're like, I'm so tired because of all the adrenaline that's just rushing through you at every single moment. And then you get back, and you're like, all right, that was fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to do that again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was like I said, grateful I was able to go. Grateful that, for the experience when it was all said and done. It's just one of those things that you just wish you'd done more. Like
Mhm.
you would have stayed there as long as they wanted at the end of the day. Um, but obviously we don't get to make those decisions.
Yeah, and it always stays with us. But you did what you had to. You did what you were told, and nothing. No, you came back, and
Yeah,
that's the important part, right?
yeah.
When you got back, how did life look like for you?
It was different for sure. It was different for sure. But still being in the military, obviously, and still brand new to the military, you still had plenty to look forward to. Looking at these things from like a civilian lens wasn't a thing at the time. Obviously, so I suppose I didn't quite realize that my views and things and change, or that just that I was changing to some degree. Not that it was like a substantial change, but just my views on a lot of things were just different in a lot of ways that
Mhm.
I couldn't pinpoint at the time. Um,
But looking back on it, hindsight's 2020. A lot of things you see all those changes, you see all those differences in mindset that led you to where you are right now.
yeah. Hmm.
And at that point, when you got back, it was still 2013, right?
Yes.
So at that point, were you thinking about getting out already, or were you like it was kind of in the back of your mind, but you were like, we'll see what happens?
I was still open to staying in. I think one of the like best words that was ever said to me was like, dude, you should treat every job that you get as if it's going to be a career forever. So my mentality was kind of like, um, stay open to the possibility of making it a career. But I was at the very same time kind of like, dude, I'm ready to get out.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose it didn't take very long after coming home and getting into garrison, and you kind of started to see, what is the normal army life gonna be like? Because obviously it's much different when you're abroad, or even for my case where I was in basic training and then straight to airborne school. It's like now I was settled in my unit in garrison for normal army life,
Mhm.
and I was open to staying in, but I knew I wanted something different. So I looked towards special operations. I considered going the psyops route. Um, and I started taking steps forward towards that. But as time passed, at this point, we'll say I would have been 2 years in. So, a little over halfway done with my contract, where I was weighing out other options and being like, I think I want to get out and go to school.
Mhm.
So it didn't take long for me to start thinking like, all right, once my contract's up, I'll enroll into college and go from there.
I mean, yeah, sometimes those thoughts come across the table in our career, and we don't really know how to action on them, or whether we're 100% on that, because it's a big jump. It's a big difference, and it's a big jump, and it's a huge change in lifestyle. Sometimes people are just like, you know what, I'm getting out because fuck that guy. Because fuck that guy. I'm gonna show him. I'm gonna get out. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but sometimes it does work out. And I think it's that change that really scares a lot of us, and really scares us to just be like, I'm not ready for civilian life. I'm going to stay in, and I think that's what happens a lot of times. But you already had your reason to get out. You were already looking forward to it. It was already kind of on the back burner, but it was getting louder as the months went by.
Hmm.
Um, it was getting louder as the months went by.
Dude, you just said it pretty well in the sense of like, yes, a lot of people don't like the idea of newness. For
Hmm.
me, what I think I came to like was making these leaps, was pursuing just completely new, unknown territory. So for
Hmm.
me, once I got back and I was in my unit, things became normal. I'm like, what else what else should I do? So I looked at other options. Getting out was for me the best decision. So to me, it was exciting to get out, start going to school. I did well over the course of that 4 year period, and continued with traveling and just pursuing new experiences. Traveling being the most that's I would say is my favorite. Um,
And you got the bug from the military and
yes.
deploying and going to different places. Um, and the military's work where you just learn a lot of adult soft skills and adult basic skills, right? But nobody teaches you to jump out of an airplane with a fish in a water bottle. Let's get into that because it's such a legendary picture, and there was some aftermath behind that, right? My first question is how okay, let me just ask a very basic question. What made you want to buy the fish?
um, so sitting in the locker room one day, we were all talking like, "Oh, on my last jump, I'm gonna do this. On my last jump, I'm gonna do that." And someone else had mentioned doing the fish. He ended up getting out, didn't do it, and it was one of
Okay.
those things. It was Manchester. I don't know if you guys ever used the phrase Manchester. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so of
Like I
course
bet
it
you
was
won't do it. And if somebody says Manchester, you gotta do it.
exactly. Yeah. So for me, it was just one of those things. It's like, dude, someone's like, that's an awesome thing to do. If no one's gonna do it, I'll do it. Um, when it came down to it, um, this would have been April of 2015.
Mhm.
I was coming down. At this point, I had about 2 months left in the military, so I really just didn't really care about like any sort of repercussions. Obviously, jumping with a fish. Like in the military, they're pretty strict with rules and everything.
Yeah.
Um, but I waited out. I was like, worst case scenario would be like maybe 40 days extra duty, and I'm like, that's the worst they could do. No matter what, I'm out of here in June. So you know,
You weighed the options, you did the math, and you took that chance.
yeah.
How'd you get the fish in the water bottle? I feel
Uh,
like that would have been because it wasn't even like a wide mouth Gatorade bottle. It was just like a regular, it was just like a regular water bottle that you get at the PX for like $1.
yeah. I just held them and just no, no.
Just, I thought there was more to that. I really thought there was more to that. I really thought you were like, I really thought you were gonna be like, I put some fish, I put some food in, I put some food in the water bottle, left it overnight, waited for him to swim in there. You just grabbed him, you just pushed it.
No, I mean,
Oh my god.
I didn't really have to force him through. He did just kind of just went in pretty
No.
nice, dude. It was easier than you would think.
Okay. All right. So you got the fish in the water bottle, and you're like, and now you're committed because the fish is in the water bottle. The fish is ready for a trip, and you're like, all right, it's gonna happen. At at any point, are you okay? So what's going through your mind as you're doing pre-jump and you're getting rigged up? Like the the fish is in your pocket.
Dude, I kind of like in a lot of ways it was kind of in the open. I didn't want to be sketchy. I
Uh-huh.
didn't want to, I didn't want anyone to call me out on it. A couple
Okay.
of my buddies knew what I was up to, but it was just one of those things that was like, let's see if he could get on the plane, And so it was kind of
So
like a step.
people in your company knew what was happening, but they weren't going to say anything because they
No,
wanted to see it play out.
yeah, exactly. So it was one of
Okay.
those things. It's like they're just keeping an eye as we went through everything, like the riggers coming through and like checking us. The fish I just put the bottle right next to me and just hoped that they didn't notice. I just wanted them to not think. Just it's just
Nobody caught that?
no, 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 no. I just
It's even funnier.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
even better. Oh
Yeah, I
my
just
god.
I just pretended my best like it was a regular bottle of water and just tried to stay as if I was focused on keeping my equipment in order and
Okay. Okay. So you get on the bird, right? So all right, okay, so you're getting rigged up and you're like everybody knows that nobody's trying to call me out and everybody's also trying to make sure that you do this. You get on the bird. You get on the bird, and it's not enough to jump with it and then show everybody at like well, at the parachute drop off, but you took a picture with it.
Yeah.
You took a goddamn picture with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of those things that, no proof, no faith.
Hmm.
So I had to get a selfie. When I first took the first few pictures, I was getting ready to put my phone away, and that's when I
Hmm.
like turned and I saw the C-17 coming. I saw it coming
Okay.
over my shoulders, and I was like, "No way!" And that's when I reached for that final one, which just was, as you saw it, it was just like picture perfect in a lot of ways, with the C-17 overhand and everything. Yeah, it was a lot, like I got lucky, and it came out just a great picture.
The stars just aligned for you to take that picture, and it worked out.
Dude, like that day was like a rainy day. It was raining all day, and we
Really?
were just waiting for this to get scratched. When we went up on the plane, I was second chalk. So we
Hmm.
did our first, and those guys all jumped. They scratched the jump. They landed
Ooh.
us. Yeah. Yeah, dude, they landed us back on the runway. And they were just waiting to be like, dude, normally when they scratch a jump, they land the plane. Okay, everybody, get off. You're done. In this
D-rig, yeah,
case,
that we
for
tried.
some reason, dude, they kept us rigged up on the plane, just sitting there on the runway. And then they're like, yeah, we're waiting, to see.
We're waiting for that 5 second window when it's clear.
Yeah, yeah. And dude, like, in this day, I was so determined. I was like, dude, because for me, I needed to jump that day. Otherwise, I was no longer, I was too close to getting out. Had my
Yeah,
final
yeah.
physical, so I had to jump. And I remember just being so angry and just being like, like, get us back in the air. Sure enough, dude, they came up and they're like, "Cool, sky's cleared up. We're going back in." So we go up, we jump, dude. If you look at that, it was a blue. I don't
It
think
was
you could even
sunny.
see a cloud. Yeah, you couldn't even see a cloud in the sky. That day was a cold, rainy day, and it
Yeah,
just so happened that it like it was just a bizarre happening,
yeah.
from start to finish, dude. I mean, like I said, that was a lucky picture.
It's wild. So you you finally take the picture. You're done with your day. You're going home. Like you send it out to all your friends, right?
Yeah, yeah. At
You,
first,
you got to.
yeah, yeah. Like when we got down, my buddy was looking at it. He's civil affairs now, and he's like, dude, you should send that to U.S. Army, the WTF moments.
Hmm.
So at the time, I was like, you think so? Like I didn't think much of it, and he's like, dude, definitely. Sure enough, sent it, and the guys there were like, dude, this is awesome. I'm like, awesome, cool. I'm glad you guys like it, and they posted it the next day, and yeah, dude, it just I'll never forget sitting there. My adrenaline was going just because I was like, I don't know, it was just an exciting, like, this page is going to post it. And just
Yeah.
seeing like the likes and the comments, dude, I just sat there just like refreshing it and just being like, man, like,
And
this is
it's
pretty.
growing. It's going viral.
Mm,
It was intense. But but you're in your mind, you're like, this is cool. It's going viral. Hell yeah. But then what happens after that? Because we were talking about this. You get reached out by a lot of other people.
yeah, yeah. So it got released on a Saturday. So I figured by Monday, dude, no one. I didn't even think many people would even be talking about it. Sunday comes around. Sure enough, my buddies in the platoon, we're all talking about it. It's funny. Monday comes around, and dude, as I'm coming to the company, just everyone I see is like, Tater, there he is. Where's Willie? And just I'm like laughing, everyone was laughing about it. I come into work, even my first sergeant is like, "Oh, Tattersall, I saw the funny or saw the fish," and he was cool about it. He was cool about it. Um, as that day went on, dude, everyone's talking about it, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden, there's rumors. This one staff sergeant is like, "Oh, the post commander, there was a serious incident report filed on you, and the post commander, was briefed. The post commander, that's, he's a high ranking officer.
Yeah.
And so, like, hearing this from an E6, and this guy, like, sounds scared for me. But I'm still just like, no way. I don't believe it. I'm like, no way. And eventually, you started hearing more and more, and they're like, yeah, dude, they want to take action against you. So, like, yeah, the attitude started to change.
Yeah.
My first line squad leader was stand up dude. He was like, okay, dude, like, this is, like, leadership's talking about it. He's like, we have to do something. And so he gave me a negative counseling, and I was told, to write a 1,000-word essay about,
the dangers of bringing a fish on an airplane.
Yeah.
It's going to fly away. Yeah. What the fuck is happening here?
Dude, it was like, obviously, just a cool, like, it was just a slap on the wrist. And I'm like, okay. And he's just like, this is over. We're done. He's like, just stop talking about it on social media. Just let it go.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, it's over. I agree. And as like the next day went on, there was still just talk. And they're still like, they're going to give you an Article 15. And I'm like, no way. And at the same time, this lady from the Army Times, she sends me a message on Facebook, and she's like, hey, do you want to do an interview? And I'm like, no, I'm like, I appreciate it, but I'm like, I'm gonna, my leadership's not happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, that's it.
I'm gonna temper this down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, okay, well, if you change your mind, just let me know. And I'm like, okay. And then that same this is what did it, dude. So there was a first sergeant, that same guy who made the joke, who thought it was funny at first. Now he's angry at me, and he's like trying to put me, he told me I'm going to be on staff duty, like 24-hour shifts, in motor pool guard. He's like, between now and the time you get out, you're going to be doing these. And then on top of it, so he puts me on the gate guard 24-hour duty. And then on top of it, they're still saying, like, you have an Article 15 coming your way. So at this point, I'm like, this isn't funny anymore. I'm on a 24-hour gate guard duty. I'm like, let me call up that reporter from the Army Times. and like, if they're going to give me an Article 15, this is double punishment. Like, they already gave me the negative counseling. So now they're the ones that are going to break the rules to punish me. And I'm just like, okay, well, if you want to break rules, like, let me do this interview, and I'll give you a reason to give me an Article 15. So,
all right. So you reach out to the lady from the Army Times.
Yeah.
And you're just like, they're doing all this shit here.
Yeah. But I still wanted to just be funny about it. I didn't want her to know I was like angry or upset. I just wanted to just go ahead and do this, have some fun with it. And, just kind of let the leadership, just let it know, like, dude, I don't care. Like, this isn't a big deal. This is, but do what you guys want to do. And that article came out like the following day. And that one, like, really went viral. That one was like, now it was like, you're definitely getting an Article 15. Now, it was like, it's confirmed, bro. Like,
you're like, I knew it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by this point, like, the only thing from start to finish, the only person that I was like disappointed in myself about having disappointed was my first line supervisor. Like, he genuinely stuck up for me, and like, and I told him, like, dude, it's over. But like, I wasn't about to just sit back and catch an Article 15. There's only so much anything could have talked me out of doing that article at that point.
Yeah, I mean, and at the same time, like you said, you're like at what, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks from getting out.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I mean, people are 2 years from getting out and they're like, I don't give a fuck. And you're like, I'm 2 weeks from getting out. Who really gives a shit, to be
Yeah,
honest?
yeah,
Like, they're going to give you an Article 15. It's not going to fuck with your shit.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
There was,
you're pretty
yeah. I
much
mean,
out at that point.
I was already accepted into the university back home, and I'm like, well, my next 4 years is going to be going to school. So, like, on a resume, like, I just didn't see where this would really affect me.
Professionally.
Yeah, yeah, and dude, like, from a professional standpoint, I've been offered multiple jobs from just people who thought the story was funny and reached out to me. People who working for Border Patrol wanted me to go work for them, like an energy company, um, uh, one of the top like public affairs, like a public relations firm.
Mhm.
They reached out to me, wanted me to come work, and it just like, so from a professional standpoint, ironically enough, it it worked out in my favor quite well.
Yeah.
Um, just in an unorthodox manner, I suppose.
Yeah, because you're getting an Article 15 and everybody's
Yeah,
like, hey man, that shit was funny as fuck. You want to work for us? And you're like,
yeah,
let me get through this shit first. Oh man, that's absolutely hilarious, man. I mean, like I said before, you're 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks from getting out. Who gives a fuck? Like, really, who cares? To
yeah,
be honest, but they're gonna give you an Article 15. You already know that they're gonna give you an Article 15. You already know you're getting out. They're not gonna be able to touch you after you get out. So,
hmm,
I mean, it's not like it's not like you admitted to it. It happened. It went viral. It's not like you're like, well, the statute of limitation is lifted on that already. I can talk about it now.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it all worked. I mean, it all worked out because it put you where you at now. Fast forward, right? I mean, well, not fast forward, but you had to jump. It was pretty much a shit show trying to get out. Because you're facing the Article 15, you're facing a lot of backlash from your higher ups who thought it was funny, and then out of nowhere they're getting shit on, so they're like, well, I have to shit on you now, And so what happened after you got out? Like you got out, and then what did you do?
So once I got out, um, so I school was like next thing on my mind. With me getting out in May, the school started in August, at the end of August. So I kind of just took like just had fun. I didn't go to get a job or anything like that. I just enjoyed, um, just coming
Being
out into
free.
the civilian, yeah, being free.
Yeah.
Getting out. Um, Went out to California with my buddy. Um, and just caught up with old friends and whatnot. And once once August came around, started school. Um, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in school. Your first 2 years obviously are like your general education courses.
Hmm.
But then I was introduced to geography, um, and I was hooked on that. So spent the next 4 years studying, and that's when I graduated in 2019,
Okay.
and that's when I went lived abroad in Madagascar for 3 months.
Oh wow, how was that?
That was awesome. Yeah, that was a great time. I was working at like a research an institute for was MRCI, Madagascar Research and Conservation Institute. So I was doing
Shout out.
yeah, it was cool. It was doing like surveys on coral reefs. So
Okay.
I got to do scuba diving and uh, just a cool experience out in Madagascar, and came back from that, and I had the travel bug. So from then on was I got a remote job, and just have been just spending the majority of my time traveling abroad, living abroad. Leading up to today. Now I am in the process of moving back to the United States.
Moving back to the United States. Okay. And so you got the travel bug, and then you just started traveling where did you go post army? Like just to travel. Where did you go post army?
Post army. Israel.
Okay.
Spent some time in Israel. That was a cool trip. That was when I was in university. Canada, throughout did trips throughout the United States. Um, then the biggest one would have been my trip to Southeast Asia. So after the picture blew up, I started getting friend requests from these beta fish profiles on Facebook. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, I have like
Oh,
two.
that's so random.
Dude, I have like 2.8 thousand friends on Facebook, and like 2.7 thousand are all beta fish.
What the fuck?
They're all just beta fish
Oh,
profiles.
shit.
They were all breeders from all throughout Southeast Asia, mostly
Okay.
Thailand.
Oh, fuck. And
It,
then you were just like, I'm gonna check this one place out that's in Thailand.
yeah, yeah, it just kind of made me be like, dude, why am I getting all these beta fish friend requests from Southeast Asia? What's the deal? Um, so just kind of looking at these different countries, weighing them out, and it just so happens that with Thailand, the national aquatic animal of Thailand is the beta fish. So I was like,
Oh,
yeah, I was like, well, clearly Willie is born and raised in Thailand, so
yeah.
go see where his his origins are like, what his home was like. Went over there during the time of COVID. With all the lockdowns, when I went over there, I was thinking that I would continue to travel, all because there's a train that goes from Bangkok and it'll take you all through China, all the way up into Russia, then over to Portugal.
So you took
And
that train?
that was my intentions.
Hmm.
Um, during COVID, with all the restrictions, it just wasn't possible. So that's where I ended up staying in Thailand for way longer than I originally thought, and which was worked out perfectly for me. So that's where I still to this that's where I spend most of the time at now. I got into a motorbike accident back
Ooh.
in 2022.
Hmm.
Just driving a motorbike, coming up on an intersection, and uh, someone else was coming, so I just had to like get out of the way. Crashed, lost the bike, and broke my ankle pretty good.
Ugh.
Yeah, so came back to the U.S. for like recovery, and then I did a South America trip for about 6 months.
God damn.
Yeah, I feel like I've been pretty active. Um,
Yeah, sounds like fucking
yeah,
sounds like it. Sounds like you've just been traveling everywhere, man. Holy shit.
yeah,
God damn. I mean, that's good. I mean, at least you're well traveled. You did what you wanted to do. And in a lot of ways, this was very not accidental, but it was just very serendipitous because who would have known that the fish that you jump with was the national fish of Thailand? And that's where it brought you to. It brought you to Thailand to have fun
yeah,
and just, build your future there.
yeah. I mean, one of like my concerns when I was in the military and coming out into the civilian world was like, what kind of life am I going to live? I just spent this time jumping out of airplanes, doing some really cool stuff. How do I keep this excitement? Like, how do I keep this, adventurous nature to me? Willie just kind of, the fish incident has just been like it motivates me to just keep active, pursue as many experiences as I can. One day I'll turn it into something, one day I'll monetize it one way or another. For now, I'm just enjoying the ride. I'll buckle down and really start pushing some sort of merchandise. Yeah. I mean, I figured something
Hell
like
yeah,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. I figure. I mean, like I look at like a company like Hello Kitty. They have all these different like memorabilia things.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to push over to is just have like a unique products that
That bring in. Well, I would say that bring resemble the spirit of the Airborne and the memory of Willie.
yeah
You
yeah
know,
yeah
put
yeah
Willie put Willie in a T10
yeah
with his
yeah
fucking reserve.
yeah
Hell yeah, man, dude. And it sounds like you're well traveled and you've done pretty much everything that everybody says that they're going to do when they get out of the army, but nobody really does it because getting out of the army, imagine it's like a rush to it's like a sprint, right? It's like a sprint. Like I'm gonna either go to school or I'm gonna get a job. Haven't gotten a job. I'm gonna go to school. figure this out. You got the GI Bill, so you can do that and
Mm,
helps cushion you for a little while. And then and then you lose track of the things that you wanted to do. Now
mm-hmm.
you're just stuck in the perpetual circle of life, which is work, wake up, work, go to sleep, wake up, work, go to sleep, and stuff like that. But it sounds like you've carved your little time in your life to travel and do all the things that you wanted to do. And who would have thought that that jump would have led you to where you're at now? It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But I love that for you, man.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
love that for you. It's great.
Thank
And love that you're thriving, love that you're flourishing. And it sounds like even though you're that chapter of that Article 15, even though that chapter of your life is closed, I mean, even though it's been like 10 years, a brand new one is just coming up.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that for you, dude. And I'm gonna ask you some stuff. I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions just to relive your time in the army a little bit. See what comes up. You ready?
Oh yeah.
Right. All right. So the army loves to have fun sometimes, and sometimes that looks like initiation rituals for the new ones, for the new young huas. What are your favorite rites of passage that help build morale?
Oh, qualifying.
Qualifying. Fucking
Qualifying.
love that
Oh
answer.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I love
That
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 answer.
that
That's classy.
for those who don't know what qualifying is, it's where you would have your new guys
Hang upside down a tree. That's
hang upside down on a tree.
hug a tree and upside down.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta hug a tree, but upside down.
Yeah,
And you,
it's pointless and it's senseless, but it makes us laugh. It makes us have fun.
dude, some people have held on for like 10 minutes. You
Yeah,
know.
it's wild. Man, I would do it for like 30 seconds and be like, yeah, you guys laughed at me
Yeah,
enough. I'm done.
yeah.
I'm fucking done, man. So the military teaches you a lot of marketing and negotiation skills, whether you like it or not, but through trading MRE foods, snacks, all that shit. What's your favorite part of the MRE?
Ooh, favorite part of the MRE. I mean, like the candy. I always like the Skittles,
Skittles, the M&Ms,
peanut butter.
peanut
Peanut
butter.
butter was
I fucked with the applesauce.
applesauce.
I fucked
Yeah,
with the applesauce
yeah,
heavy,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. Okay,
Ooh,
okay.
that applesauce and those Cheez-It bites.
Amen to that.
God damn.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
fuck with that heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another one, the military teaches you resilience one way or another, whether it's through training exercises or losing a friend or a loved one. What's one moment that really tested your will and made you rethink your choice to join? That tested your will or made you think like, fuck this. I do not want to be in the army anymore.
Oh, okay. So, dude, this was maybe my third jump in airborne school.
Okay.
Maybe second or third jump in airborne school, where it was like, okay, I had jumped once. Now we're waiting, and I still like was like, okay, I'll jump. Like I'm going to continue doing this, of course. But to be the first jumper, that was never anything that I cared to. I never wanted to be the first jumper. I was like,
Yeah.
no, thank you. Sure enough, my buddies are like, "Oh, Tater wants to be the first jumper," and I'm like, "No, I don't want to." And the jump master was like, "Oh yeah, I think Tater does want to be the first jumper," and I was like, "No, I would rather not." Sure enough, they had me be the first jumper, and so that's where like that was like a dude. Of course, that was a moment that just made you question everything. Um, well,
Oh,
coming up to the door, and then having them be like, you check to make sure it's clear below. So sure enough, of course, I like check a little bit, and I'm like, hey, we're clear. Jump matters is like, no, and he like grabs you by the back, and he like really sticks your whole like half of your body out. And it's like 2 a.m, and you're just
yeah.
looking
You
around like,
can't see shit.
okay, we're good, like,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh
Um,
man, I feel that on a personal level because when I went to airborne school, I uh I obviously knew that there was like a first and last jumper, right? So I was like, you know what? I want to be kind of like in the middle or in the back because it'll give me time to freak out. It'll give me time to freak out and it'll give me time to be like, don't be a bitch, fucking go, right? But it'll give me plenty of time.
yeah,
So we're getting rigged up, we're waiting for hours and hours. Finally, it's our chalk's turn to board the plane. So we board, and I'm on the edge, right? I'm literally sitting on an edge, and I look to my left, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty far down. Okay, I could do this. I could do this. My first jump in fucking airborne school. I'm like, I could do this. Hell yeah! All right, let's go. I'm fucking ready for this. I have enough time to freak out, and then the fucking plane goes up and then it levels out. And then all I hear is stand up. And I'm like, why are you next to me? I'm like, what the fuck? I'm freaking the fuck out. And then we go through everything. We hook up. And then the fucking jump master opens the door right in front of me. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. I'm like, that's the wrong door. You're supposed to open that one. This is the wrong fucking door, man. And then he's like, and then he just says stand by. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, it was the worst fucking experience. And I ended up being the first jumper in all 5 jumps. It was fucking terrible. I hated that, dude. That's why when you said that, I'm like, I feel that shit personally.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking terrifying, dude.
Yeah, dude, I'll never forget that initial moment of like inching forward to look out and being like, yeah, and him being like, no. Like,
get in there.
Once my head was out and just hearing the wind and everything, and you're just, it's like, it's
real. Like you can't back out, or else you get labeled a bitch.
Mm-hmm. No,
you just have to.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to fucking do it, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of MREs, again, during field exercises, we have the best meals that the Army can provide, which is the MRE. In your opinion, what's the most overrated MRE?
Most overrated MRE. I want to say the pork ribs. There was one.
Ooh, the maple sausage one? Any of the pork ribs. We're going to end this right now. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I forget. There was one of them that was like straight up dog food.
All the pork ribs one were straight up fucking dog food. That shit was disgusting. I had that one time and I was like, I know I never want to fucking eat this shit again. It was so gross.
Yeah.
Fuck that, man. What was your favorite MRE?
Favorite MRE? Buffalo chicken. I believe they had a buffalo chicken.
The old school buffalo chicken. I fuck with that heavy. That shit was good as fuck.
Yeah.
God, I miss it. But now it's just a packet of like canned chicken, and they give you a separate sauce on the side, and you have to mix it. It ran right through me the first time I had the new one. I was like, it didn't do this the first time. What the fuck?
Sounds super ratchet.
Yeah, before it was like actual, like, I mean, it was probably like dog food or something, but it looked like it looked like real chicken. And you open the pack, and it like the sauce is already in there, and that's all good. It was delicious. But now it's completely different. All right, man, we're gonna play a game of go or no go, and since we're commemorating Willie, we're gonna call it go or no go at Willie Station.
Okay.
You ready?
All right, I like it.
This is all through the lens of if Willie was in the Army. Well, he was in the Army for a little bit. If Willie was in the Army, go or no go at Willie Station working through lunch?
Oh, that's a no go.
We always say on this channel, that it's the biggest fucking scam ever.
Yeah, you don't ever work through lunch. No way.
No.
No.
What about calling cadence when not in a unit formation or a run?
It's a no go.
Hell yeah.
That's a no go.
Love this. The phrase orientate the map.
We're gonna say no go.
Hell yeah. So you don't understand this when wearing white socks in PT. Sergeant Major Daly back a few years ago changed the uniform policy with the actual uniform change of the PTs. Now we get to wear black socks.
Okay, that's a go.
But black socks, yes. White socks, not anymore.
Oh.
We're not about that here.
Oh, so no more white socks.
Period. You can wear white socks, but my theory is that you can't trust anybody who wears white socks to PT.
I agree.
They're fucking narc. You can't do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Putting a 5-pound bag of jelly beans in your rucksack in order to make weight.
Oh, that's a go. That's a go.
Fuck yeah, dude. Wearing grunt style t-shirts out in public. Ooh.
Got to support the boys.
Okay. Standard issued boots.
That's a go. That's a go.
What? Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Man. No, that is a no-go here on this channel. That is a no-go here on this channel because just like white socks, you cannot trust someone who wears regular fucking issued boots. That is a fucking narc, and they work for the CG, dude. That's fucking CID straight up. Another one, tucking tucking your pants into your boots.
Tucking your socks into your boots.
No, your pants into your boots.
That's a no-go.
Okay, at least we agree on something
Yeah,
there.
you could. Yeah, you could. You got the strings to blouse them, but
You got the strings to blouse them. You got
mm-hmm,
boot blousers. You can do
mm-hmm.
something else. But again,
Dude,
fucking CID.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
What about getting an army tattoo or any type of tab tattooed?
It's a go. It's a
Do
go.
you have
It's
any
a
army
go.
tattoos?
I have one. I got the what is it? Alcoholics Anonymous there.
Wait, I gotta see this. I
I got
can't
it.
see anything.
Oh, you can't
You
see it?
got that?
Yeah.
Oh man, I am learning so many people have army tattoos.
I waited until I got out. That's the thing. Is once you're out and you look back, that's when you know that's when you're most likely to get it. I never would have rocked it while I was in, but once you get out and you look back, you're like, okay, you know, like that was home to me at one point, you know.
Okay, I see it. Yeah. Now you're putting a different perspective on it because I can respect that. I can respect that because if I see you out in the wild and you got a big ass fucking 82nd tattoo on your calf, I'm gonna be like, fucking lame.
No, yeah.
But you know what? If you're like, you know what, that was home for me. You know that was my home for this many years, and that's where part of my heart's gonna stay. I'm be like, you know what? I respect the shit out of that. I
Yeah,
fucking might still think it's lame, but I respect the reason why.
yeah,
I
yeah. I mean,
respect the shit out of that.
that was the frustrating part about being in was the lack of the lack of pride in the Airborne while we were in.
Oh, dude. There was no fucking pride. There was none. There
Yeah,
really was fucking none. And
yeah.
now, which I don't know if you keep up with the meme pages and like the IG pages, like 82nd Airborne pages, 101st. Now it's like now it's fucking cool.
Okay, I mean,
Which is
good.
when we grew up in the 82nd, it was the wildest thing. It was like we fucking, and I mean, now people still hate their lives in the 82nd, but they're like, it's pretty cool that we're here. Before we were like, fuck this place. I fucking hate every second of it. And that's kind of how we viewed it. And that's kind of how we grew up in the army in the 82nd.
There's
Now
no
it's
way I
completely
would have
different.
rocked like yeah. There's no way you would have had an 82nd tattoo while you were active in the 82nd. There's no way. Like you would
No,
have
and
gotten roasted.
if you did, you didn't tell anybody about it.
Exactly. Yeah. You keep that on the down low.
Yeah, you don't fucking tell a goddamn soul about that shit. And now it's like
But
I'm
like
not saying it's in or a hip or anything. Well, I sound so fucking old. I'm not saying it's like what's up?
we trained with British paratroopers when I was in. Or we became friends with them, and they had so much pride in the Airborne. It was awesome. It was awesome to see them and how much they loved being paratroopers and this and that. And it was like looking, for us to be our ways, it was just a
Confusing.
shame of like, dude, like this, what we do is awesome. From outsiders' perspectives, it's like Airborne shit is awesome. But while you're in and it becomes normal and you're dealing with
Yeah. Yeah, it becomes your daily life and you're like, I don't want to do this.
yeah, yeah,
But and I get it. And before, like you said, the outside perspective from other countries like partner nations, it was wild to see that they're because I mean, at least when I trained with the Mexican Marines, there was a couple of jump masters there, and they were super proud of that. And us being paratroopers, we kind of connected on a different level on that. But it was so different for them because they're like, we don't get to jump a lot. And one was a jump master, and he's like, I don't get to do this that often. And they're like, our drop zones are so small that if the winds are above 6 knots, we don't jump. You know what I mean? So
damn,
it's like
damn,
for us at least. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but at least for me, it was already my contract. It was part of my like career path to get to where I initially needed to go. Since it was part of that, I didn't really have to fight for it. I didn't really have to work for it. Now it's like this is still the same thing. You want an airborne contract. I didn't even know I was going to be airborne when I signed my shit. I was literally just like, just get me the first thing that happens that like leaves faster. And they're like, okay, we got infantry. And I was like, I'll come back next week. And then out of nowhere, they're like, we got this job. And I was like, when does it leave? I think this was like July. And they're like, it leaves in September. And I was like, I will fucking take it. And
That's
then I
awesome.
signed the papers and everything, and they gave me like a bunch of like pens and I think they just gave me a bunch of pens. They didn't give me shirts or anything. They were just like giving me a bunch of pens and shit. And then I was leaving, and then I was like, "What job is this, by the way?" And they're like, "You're gonna be a mechanic." And I was like, "Sounds like a good trade to have after the army." And they're like, "You're also going to jump out of planes." That last part again? Fuck you mean, you know? And they're like, "You'll find out." And I was like, "Okay." But it's not as hard work. It's not as much of a struggle as it is for other countries to get it. So which makes sense as to why they're more proud of it. Whereas us, we're like, fuck this shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but the 82nd will always have a little special place in our hearts, whether we
Mm.
whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Whether we
Yeah,
fucking like it or
most
not, man.
definitely.
Um, like I said before, hindsight is 2020, and in our careers, we make a lot of unquestionable decisions. If you were with your younger self, like your younger, wide-eyed, young Hua self, what's one thing that you would tell them? Looking back, like you now, your young Hua self, what would you tell them?
Young Hua self. Knowing what I know now, I would have just said, appreciate what you can,
Mm,
because you're not going to get it anywhere else. You might not like it now, but you'll always appreciate having done this. This will be the most significant time period of your life. It's an important time period. Get as much out of it as you can. And then leave behind the things you no longer need anymore. If it maybe a bad attitude, or if
maybe
there's
some
any,
baggage.
you got to unlearn certain things.
Hmm.
Jumping from that lifestyle to the civilian world, it's best to just do your best to unlearn certain things.
Yeah,
Uh, but in summary, this will be just a super important time of my life.
yeah. And to all the young Huas out there, what advice would you give them if they're either struggling to find a reason to stay in the army, or if they want to join the army but they're not really sure yet? What's one good advice for all the young Huas out there?
If you're considering joining the military, do it for sure. Do not overthink it. Sign the contract. Do your best. If you don't like it, when your contract is up, get out. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. If you're considering it, join.
Mhm.
Um, don't listen to anybody else.
Hell yeah,
Period.
man. Hell yeah, man. Those are wise words, dude. Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here today. I know you got some important stuff coming up on the horizon, and it's gonna be. And I mean, I'm gonna be looking out for you because it's gonna be great. You're on to bigger and better things. You're going back to Thailand, man. Your life is just starting, and I can't wait to see all you got going on and all that you're gonna do. Um, Tell the people out there where they can find you, where they can hit you up, if they're looking for you, if there is a warrant for your arrest or something like that. Yeah, tell the people where they can find you, dude.
So my Instagram is Matthew_J_Tattersall. And my YouTube, I think you can just do TaterTube, TaterTube. And
Make sure to clip that and plug it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, feel free to reach out. Always like talking to people. Like having new friends. Leo, it was great to meet you.
Hey,
I
man,
I, I,
it
I
was
really
great to meet.
appreciate your time, man.
It was a pleasure to meet you. Stick around for a little bit so we can just talk about some random stuff off the record because
Cool.
we don't want to incriminate ourselves.
Amen to
No, I'm kidding. But yeah,
that.
just stick around. We'll talk a little bit. Thanks for coming on, Matt. Love you, dude. It's been a great
Thank you.
episode. Everybody listening at home, on the car, whatever you're doing. If you like this episode, like, share, comment, call me a fat piece of shit, whatever it is, helps the algorithm. If you like this episode, tell someone about it. Cause I don't know if Matt's gonna do another interview about the fish. It's been a while, and he came out of hiding to do this interview. Um, yeah, this has been Leo with the Wet Boots Podcast, reminding you that sometimes you have no other choice than to keep going in wet boots. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye, everybody.